Welcome back to Leonard Brother Reviews. I'm David. Go ahead. You're not going to say... Okay, he's here, but he's not going to say anything. It's John. Anyways, now that finally focused, this is Vertical Force. This is quite possibly the best kind of footage I can get out of this thing, honestly. I got it propped up on a box and stuff, and have been ages trying to adjust things. And so basically you got, one set of controls. The idea of the game is that there's an upper and lower level, which you can tell the difference because of the screens. And you do have a little bit of health before you die, but you push the buttons A and B to switch between planes to fight, the vertical planes, like a Vertical Force. A lot of the top-down shooters like this, at this time, had the same kind of feature, but it was harder to tell without 3D technology whether you were actually on a higher or lower plane, at least not easily. But of course with this, it's still hard to tell because it's 2D. You're only filming half of what's going on screen. But the sound is okay, and in general the system, it works pretty well, except for the fact it's all red. If you want to see it differently, at least more capably, there are emulators available, which I use them, but I only use them for games that I own because I'm trying to be legal like that, And you can, most people when they get gameplay footage, they film the emulator and they have like red and blue glasses, like typical 3D in that regard. Like most other, whatever they call it, just red blue 3D. I forget there's a name for it. Anyways, here's the boss battle. Yeah! Giant mech thing, which is kind of hard to see, even though actually working quite well through the. I probably would be able to play this longer if I look at it through this instead of directly at it, because it's not so blinding. But of course, that killed me. So let's get rid of that game. I'm trying to switch this out without a hassle. Here we go. Next game we'll try Galactic Pinball. Sure, why not? Pinball's pretty simple. And of course, the design of the console kind of encourages the L and R trigger buttons to be your left and right bumper. Let's turn the system back on. Readjust. There we go. It's surprisingly clear. Alright. Virtual Boy, it always has that opening screen that says Virtual Boy to indicate whether you have it properly focused or not, which fortunately we do. So here we go. Galactic Pinball. Let me move the camera a little bit. There's multiple pinball tables available, and I forget whether there's ones you have to like unlock or whatever, but some of these games, like Wario, I'll probably show a little bit later, have like whole sections of them unlocked, which I feel sorry for the person who had to play for as long as they had to play to look at this thing and actually unlock all of those features and play through the entire game, because as Nintendo said, if you play it for longer than 15 minutes, you'll probably go blind. Because it's very, very bad. But yeah, this is pinball. I mean, I know I'm not spending that much time with it, but it's an idea of some of the games that were available. Is actually another one of the launch titles, along with Mario Tennis, the Red Alarm, and something else. I forget what it was. Anyways, that's that. Let's try the real good game. I'll get to that in the list. Wario, here we go. Wario Land. There's also a game called Mario Clash, which if you're familiar with the original Mario Brothers series, that started on Atari, in which Mario would run around pipes and hit various creatures and so on. Mario Clash is basically the Virtual Boy version of that game with multiple layers of environment to travel through and hit all the turtles and crabs and other things and the creatures, stuff like that they have in the game. So this is the level select, or at least the save select area. So I'll just go into this one. The advantage of this game, this is more along the lines of it certainly had a longer play time than most games. Most of the games you see at Galactic Pinball, you might play for a few minutes and be done with it, and that'd be perfectly okay with this format. But this one is more like the traditional games. You got Wario there. He has a charge attack. He's got which you don't want to charge at that because that would hurt you. And you jump into blocks and get power-ups, and then the power-ups allow you to take a hit at least. And so there's a kind of a perspective here as that guy just hit me. And so now I gotta avoid all these other spiky things and keep going on. Next section, there's also like planes on there. The idea of the game, it's hard to tell. I guess there's something I have to do here or not. I'm lost.
Can you jump into the background?
Jump into the background. I'm trying to. Although there's something on the lower plane that would send you up to the higher one. Oh. Unless I'm supposed to just like jump up there. Okay, here we go. Jump up here while that's not hitting. Okay, and I can move forward. Or not. That was a dead end over there. You can say, oh, hit that down. Anyways, if you have a better perspective of it, as in looking in with both eyes and being able to see the depth of perception that they intend you to see, the game is one of the best on the system, if not the best. The reason to get the system in the first place, and that's that. So probably go with like one more game, at least the most technologically advanced game on the system. Being another one of the launch titles. Oh dear, the camera fell. Camera and phone fell, and that made a lot of noise. But that's going into the video anyways, because I really can't edit it too easily. Squeaky, squeaky. Close and prop it up again. And turn on. Apologies for that, but when you're trying to switch out games on the fly, it doesn't. This is one of the Japanese ones, so it's got the Japanese text. But other than that, everything else is pretty well playable in English.
I think it's propped up too high.
Propped up too high? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try it like this. So you see some of the vector graphics there. This is actually a precursor. There was one of the early demos, tech demos. See, now it's just going to fall forward. It's got to be propped up somehow.
Yeah, it was just that.
Too much.
Fairly to the top.
Yeah. Anyways, one of the early tech demos when the system was released in '95 was Star Fox 2. And they were working on this type of vector graphics and basic 3D models to create what would obviously looks very similar to something that would be Star Fox. So you got like the D-pad, the left D-pad moves normally, the right D-pad does a little dash attack, and you've got the right trigger that fires weaponry and the left trigger that fires missiles. So you got regular machine gun and missiles and stuff, and you got these various targets and multiple layer backgrounds, and it's certainly one of the more visually impressive games if you can stand the constant red graphics. And for any longer than a few minutes, it does become quite an eye strain. Also, very difficult for nausea and other things. So if you stare at it for a long time, and it's total darkness, the idea is this thing envelops you, and when you get back out of it, it's quite blinding to see normal sunlight or normal indoor lighting, as after you've been in staring at this darkness and this just constant red screen for any particular length of time. But otherwise, it was a system made before its time, which is why the 3DS takes a lot of the things, the 3D and the interactivity and other features this system was ahead of its time on, and makes it the way Gunpei Yokoi would have wanted to. I forgot to mention in the previous part of the review, unfortunately, after the release and failure of the system, Nintendo pretty much shunned Gunpei Yokoi, even though he made them big bucks by creating the Game & Watch and the Game Boy. And he was also involved in the Metroid franchises, tons of stuff that he was responsible and famous for. And this is the last project he worked on for Nintendo, pretty much. This is the last thing he was known for, and it's kind of embarrassing. Kind of a sad state of affairs, because he died in a car crash in '97, just a year after the system completely failed, and this is the last thing he was known for. So there's also, I think, if you press the B button, you slow down, and the A, go into reverse. There's some sections in the game where you have to fire at certain targets. Here they pop out, and you destroy them in order to open up this door, which kind of looks like Andro's kind of face, which is a lot of people were thinking this is going to be another precursor to a decent Star Fox game. and then you blast through there and you fly through the next section. It's more of an arcade title, you know. You pick up and play for a little bit, and you can eventually unlock a level select, and there's other features and stuff that they didn't get around to for a lot of different games. The fact that, you know, a lot of the problem was that Nintendo did not provide the system for third-party developers. They were so worried about it, you know, being misrepresented that only Ocean, the company Ocean, got a copy early on and made the game Waterworld, but pretty much all the other games were first-party. Nintendo worked on themselves and insisted that they were the only ones who were able to get games right. And if you look at Nintendo's general track record, a lot of the Wii games and Wii U games, the popular ones were all made by Nintendo. There are very few third-party games that survive, that really thrive, because third parties don't get access to the hardware the way Nintendo does. Nintendo creates it. They have a certain idea of how they want to go through. So anyways, you had that section where you were in a regular tube, and then you have all this open world section too, so you can slow down, turn around, and in this great octagonal, I guess, room or whatever, and fight this big boss and fire lasers and missiles and so on at it. Anyways, we're getting a little long on this video, and you've gotten a pretty good description of how the system works and so on and so forth. So until next time, happy gaming.